Hello and welcome aboard. You join me sitting in the cockpit of a 109 Messerschmitt on the ramp at Groom Lake. We are awaiting the imminent arrival of the FA-18 Hornet from Eagle Dynamics. The welcome reception is just spooling up, so I'll close the canopy so I don't have to listen to them. As you can see, it is flying high above us, and if I'm honest, it doesn't actually show any signs of coming down to say hello. So while we're here, we might as well test the ability of my 5-year-old laptop to play this game and record me while I'm playing it. Anyway, let's take a short flight down to Creech Air Force Base. So ignition on, fuel pumps on, radio on. Ground crew for the inertial starter.
Run the starter.
While they're doing that,
Copy.
fuel pumps on, magnetos on, takeoff trim set, prime the engine. Open the cover, oxygen, brake, tailwheel lock.
Clear.
Start. If we're lucky. There we go. Thousand revs. Just to warm the engine up. IFF. Get the rest of the electrics going. Close the cover. I want to head approximately due south on takeoff, so I'll set my course on the bezel here. I don't have the altimeter setting for Creech Air Force Base, which is our destination, so I'll actually set this thing to our true altitude, which is right now, because we're on at the ramp at Groom Lake, that's 1360. So we'll set that, and I know what the actual landing altitude at Creech will be. That's okay, that's okay. MW50 on. We'll leave the governor off for the time being. Right. Should be okay to go. Back. Lock off. Bit of power. Moving. Use the brakes to steer. FA-18 is streaking away into the distance. It's probably been delayed by a bug somewhere. Maybe they haven't quite figured out how to make it land. Let's see if I can get this thing to take off. I'm trying to record this and play this at the same time, and it's causing everything just to get a little bit jittery. Just using the toe brakes to steer the aircraft towards the runway. Lock the tail wheel while we're going straight. Cut back. Line up. Stop. Just double check where we are. Bring it back up to 1000 revs. Some heat into the engine before we take off. Propeller governor is on now. Takeoff trim is definitely set. Have oxygen on. Radiators in automatic. Oil temperature's just coming up to normal. Engine temperature's okay. Everything's set as we want it to be set. Now if I can actually make this take off cleanly, it'll be a miracle. Back stick, right rudder, and power. What about 1.3 ATA? There we go. Be okay. Actually flying. I'm just trying to pitch up. Just push down just a little bit. Not too bad. We'll take that for an Xbox controller. I'll just have to take my hand off the rudder to raise the gear. Gear up. And we just try and steady the ball on the ADI there. Go back power to climb power. We'll go to 3000 meters. And we're just trying to use the rudder just a little bit, just to keep the ball centered there on the ADI. Course is due south. Climbing at 10 meters a second. We want to just pick up a bit of speed. aircraft is just trying to pitch up on me. It really does want to climb very, very much. He's off to the left. There's a ridge line that I want to follow that'll give me a good approach into Creech. I'm not quite flying south. I'll just turn slightly to the right. Ball is showing that I've just a bit too much right rudder on. Now we're heading due south. Or not. Waiting for the altimeter to steadily wind up at 3,000. I can see the ridge line I want to follow out of the left window, even though I can't actually turn the pilot's head. So I'm just going to turn back in that direction. Pitched up by mistake, so we've lost a bit of speed. Almost down, back to around 300 there. We'll just start going in this direction. Just slightly off south. See, just a bit of a jerk in the sim there. Running this thing on a 5-year-old laptop, it's not exactly the best machine. I think pretty much everybody else is using far more advanced setups than I am. Easing off on the rudder, just keeping the ball centered. We're coming up to their target altitude. Just going to throttle back to cruise power, which is about 180A. Too far back. That'll do. Level off. And we're on the way. Now, we're still at full nose down trim. One of the things with the 109 is that that's the only trimming you can do. Otherwise, you have to hand fly the aircraft the entire time. It is not like the Mustang at all. That's the ridge there that we want to follow. Creech Air Force Base is about there. We're holding about 3 kilometers of altitude, so we're about 2,000 meters above the field. Oil temperature's okay, water temperature's okay, oil pressure's okay, fuel pressure's okay, everything's okay. Let's just fly. The aircraft's still trying to climb on me just a bit. Power back slightly. Please don't climb. Now, DCS isn't really a war words game. It's not quite like IL-2 where you have pretty much every aircraft that ever fought in World War II. There's only really the 4 aircraft. There's the Spitfire, there's the 190 Dora, there's the 109, and there's the Mustang. And that's it. So it's not really a World War II simulation. So you might be asking yourself, why would you want to really pick up one of these aircraft? There are a couple of reasons. First and foremost, they teach you a lot about basic aircraft management. There's not a lot of really fancy, complicated systems to learn. You don't have to know individual subsystems deep in 3 menu pages. You have your engine temperatures, you have your boost, you have your revs, and you have where you are in the sky and what the plane is doing. And that's about it. So, from one standpoint, they're not really that difficult an aircraft to learn. They are, however, as you can tell by my takeoff, a fairly difficult type of aircraft to master. They teach you a lot about the basics of flying, from stuff like stalling behavior and accelerated stalls. They teach you things like how the aircraft responds to the engine. It reacts to the torque of the propeller. It kicks and bucks as you're changing the power settings on the engine, as the torque of the propeller and the wash over the wings has an aerodynamic effect on the airframe. And most of all, things happen at much slower speeds. We're cruising along here at a steady 450 kilometers an hour, while a jet aircraft might be doing, say, twice that at military power. So you have time to sit and think about what you're doing. You have time to actually plan your landing. You have time to plan your takeoff, and you have time to react. So from that respect, until something like the Christian Eagle comes along, they are actually probably some of the better training aircraft DCS actually has. Now, I think I'm a little bit off course compared to where I want to be, so I'm just going to have to start searching for the Air Force Base. We don't have any sort of fancy navigation aid, so we just have to look out the window. It should be dead ahead of me. Where are we? Where are you? That might be it there. I'm not quite sure with the rendering this thing has set. I can, however, see Las Vegas in the distance. Nope, I've got the Air Force Base there. I think that's it. No, it's not. One other thing about these aircraft, when you are off course, you are way off course. So I'm going to head over to this mountain to give myself a decent approach into Creech. You have no actual GPS, you have no other backups to help you. All you have is the Mark 1 eyeball, or the F10 map if you want to cheat. So you're relying on what you can see out the windows to tell you about where you are. Did a 450 kph, which is a good cruise setting for this aircraft. There's the airbase we want to land. We want to land along that runway there. So we're just going to nose down, back off the power slightly. We're going to drop down to 2 kilometers. The aircraft responding to that by trying to pivot to the right because of the drag from the propeller. Just countering that with a bit of a left rudder. You might be wondering why I didn't go in for approach from the other direction. To be honest, it's because every time I've gone into Creech Air Force Base, I come in from this direction. I've no way to radio them for the weather, so I'll just go with the way I know. It's stupid and you'd never do it in real life, but this isn't real life. Now we're at a low power setting, so the engine is cooling off. Oil is cooling off. Our oil pressure is actually going up as the oil is getting thicker, so that's actually modeled in the game. Otherwise everything seems okay. Our speed isn't getting too high, it's still around 420, 430. We've slowed down slightly, which is okay. That'll help us land. Start a left turn. Now most people will say fly a full pattern, but I'm lazy and this will just let me confirm the test and that this system is actually working for me. Also, I need to refill my pint glass, which has just gotten empty. I'm going to turn the governor off and bring the revs up on the engine manually. This will help slow the aircraft and will also make it more controllable on approach. It's not technically correct, but it's something I like doing. It just makes things feel a little bit easier for me. I'm going to bring the revs up to 2500. You can see the prop pitch counter just beside the flare gun is winding up to about 1130, which is where it should be on landing. We're at 2500 revs, just approaching 2000 meters, so we're 1000 meters above the runway, I think, from memory. Start bringing just turning on to final approach. Power up back. I think we've just gone to idle throttle there. Just one bad thing about using a controller, I have it mapped to the directional pad. We don't want to go below 300. See the aircraft is lurching as we throttle, gear it down. We're going to add positive trim, pull the nose up to counter the effect of the gear. And I'm just going to start winding in flat now to slow us down to a landing speed. We want to get our speed down to about 220 kilometers an hour, which should be good enough to get us onto the runway. Gear is down, you can tell by the two green lights there. Just trying to line up with the runway. Dropping a little bit quicker than I'd like. Check flaps. Flaps are down to full. More positive trim just to lift the nose. We want to get the aircraft flying itself as much as possible, so we have to do as little as possible control. So still needs a little left rudder to keep steady. Throttle. Just don't want to let our speed drop too much. You can see the aircraft is rocking as I'm just adjusting power slightly. I want to go back a little like that. Just try and keep the start of the runway in the bottom of the sight glass. Nose up. A bit more power. There we go. One of the nice things about the 109 is that, I don't know if you can see them, there are some leading edge slats, so it's actually one of the easier warbirds to land. Just checking, is my tail wheel locked? Yep. Going a bit too fast, slow her down. Just trying to keep the ball centered when we land so we don't drop a wing. Power. Off on the rudder, back off on the rudder a little. Well lined up. I guarantee you I will fuck this up. Speed is okay, we're in a little steep, but we can flare that out. We've got plenty of runway to land on. Fast. No, 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 no. Nope. We bounced. Easy, easy. There we go. Still got a lot of energy. She wants to fly. There we go. Not my best landing, but doesn't look like we broke anything. Just easy on the brakes so we don't tip a wing. We should be able to get off the runway here. Well, we can use the airplane again. That's the main thing. Just park it somewhere safe. Shut it down. reason the right brake has actually stopped working on me. Lock. Engine stop. Purge fuel. Magnetos. Missed the click. Oh, come on. Off. Cockpit open. Electrical kill. And that's it. We've landed. And we can use the aircraft again. I suppose that's the main thing.